Both eyes are focused on pain. Blows my mind alone in my brain. I smell smoke from all of those flames. Fell in holes and hope for my grave. They told me smell the roses, but I burnt the whole bouquet.
Tom, you'll never win the fight against your haters long as I listen. Cause I read every single comment that you try missing. Then recite them in your mind and memorize disses. I'm a giant, Thomas. Why are you trying to fight with me?
I'm different. Don't care about a height difference. I might win it. Show up to a gunfight, knife swinging.
I am the darkness.
Yeah, I got night vision. No! I need to do this by myself. I told you twice already exactly how I felt. I'm the best rapper ever. I don't wanna be great. If they're the best, then I'm better. Don't you make no mistake. Cause I'm the gold. Feel it in my bones until I'm a ghost. I'm the one who pulls the sword out of the stone. Best ever. I'm the best rapper ever. I don't care what you say. I'm Da Vinci. I'm forever. I'm designed for the fake. Cause I'm the gold. Get the kid a throne. Everybody knows. Only voices that I'm hearing on my own. Best ever.
Aaron Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com. Hey there on I was going to say a Saturday night, I'm getting a day ahead of myself. On a Friday night, I'm meteorologist Aaron Tuttle. Thanks for joining me. Obviously, we've got some weather out there to speak of. We've got some showers and some thunderstorms that have been ongoing for the last few hours here over western and northern Oklahoma as far as the heavy stuff goes. Some light stuff off and on during the day. They don't really amount to too much, but some of these thunderstorms are, and they've had a little bit of hail with them at times. No tornadoes reported across the state. That's good news. Does not look like we'll see any here for our Friday evening, so you can sleep well knowing that. Saturday might be a different story for some of you. We're going to get to that forecast here in a little bit, but for now, we're going to get you caught up on what's happening out there currently. So first things first, it's a lovely rainy evening. So there's a look at my roof cam, and obviously cloudy, the lights lighting up the skyline of just more of that dreary looking cloudiness that's just not going to go anyway here for tonight. So we're kind of stuck in this for a while. The weather will improve on Sunday, but that's Sunday, not today. All right, so let's take a look at the current radar view. And you do see temperatures in the 60s and 70s south, 50s north, and you can guess the reason for that is we kind of have a well, it's been going back and forth between a warm front and a cold front, but it's kind of draping across the state like this. We talked about this at lunchtime today in the Facebook Live as to how that would be the focus to get some of those light showers to go and thunderstorms to develop along and behind it. All right, so that's kind of where that position is. That's why the temperatures are so different. If you do look up here in northwest of Oklahoma City, if you head up to Hennessy and Kingfisher, pretty good little thunderstorm around here. It might have about an inch size hail. It's been at times stronger, but it looks like it's been a little bit of a weakening trend. I'll zoom in here to this one. This is in Kingfisher County, between Kingfisher and Dover. And I'll look at a couple of the parameters here. There's no rotation to indicate any potential tornadic activity at all, so don't get excited about that. For large hail, there's probably going to be some quarter-size hail in there. So, maybe about 1 inch, maybe at worst case, golf balls in a teeny tiny area. This is probably going to be this little big hail spot right here is East Road 760, about a mile and a half west of Highway 81. That's the biggest core in that storm. So it's not anything out of the ordinary for a severe storm here this time of the year. So a little wind, little hail with that one. Okay, so let's move on to what's happened so far. Now the models are going to try to pick those heavy areas of where the showers and storms will cause some brief flash flooding, but they're not going to do so good because they just can't. But they do give you the idea that it's going to happen and then kind of narrow down some of the regions. We do have a little hot spot up here in northwest Oklahoma, just west of Enid, where they've seen about 2 inches of rainfall. So some flash flooding going off, a little runoff in the streets. So this will be an issue to deal with here for tonight, and then we'll look at the rainfall totals expected by tomorrow as well to see how many more of us may see a little bit too much in the way of rainfall. We talked about the cold front, warm front boundary kind of more of a stationary front at this point in time, but it's kind of snaking through here in Oklahoma. So you can see kind of a northeast wind on the north side and a southeast wind on the south side. So what do you get with this? You get convergence. The air comes together on that boundary. Can't go down the ground, so it's got to go up. So it goes up, creates all the clouds, and we get some help from Mother Nature in the upper levels, and you get a little bit of mid-level lift, upper level lift, and you get that rainfall out there and some storms. So this is not a typical severe weather day in Oklahoma. This is kind of a marginal day. Now, what about tomorrow? Okay, so this is the Storm Prediction Center, and they've got this little region highlighted out here in the Texas Panhandle, all the way into western Texas and a far western Oklahoma. And what is that they circled? They circled a slight to an enhanced area of severe weather. All right, what does it look like if we zoom it in? It looks like this. Let's see here. This is from the National Weather Service in Norman. They took that same graphic and put it on a better map for you so you can see a little bit better. But you can see the slight risk extends just to the edge of Canadian County and then points out to the west toward Clinton, and then the enhanced risk right along the counties along the border. And why is this enhanced? Because this is probably the favorable area we're going to see tornadoes tomorrow. There should be a couple of them that work their way across the panhandle of Texas into Oklahoma before falling apart. So keep that in mind. Like we talked about at lunchtime, I do not expect tornadoes anywhere in this vicinity. So I think they're bounded by this little red box. So if you're wondering about tornadoes or worried about them, it's always good to get your shelters cleaned out for the freak event. At some point here during the spring, remember tornadoes are pretty rare overall, in any given area. And you may never use your shelter. You may only use it for practice, with the kids. You may only use it to store stuff. I suggest you don't, because you might need it that one time out here in western Oklahoma. Guys might actually, a few of you will probably need it. Okay, so this is obviously going to get some large hail out of that and some damaging winds out of those big supercell storms. Now we look at the analogs, which is go back historically at similar type patterns, and we look to see in the past, and we compare it to what's coming up here for the Saturday, and we should get quite a few severe weather reports out there, which is what all this cluster of bright red is. That's the severe weather reports of 80 to 90%. Category. That's just for one report. In other words, we'll see at least one severe weather report. That would be large hail, damaging winds, or a potential tornado. Now, if we look at 5 or more reports, our category drops down about 50 to 60%, and mainly clustered across the Panhandle of Texas and southwest Oklahoma. That historically would be the favorite area for those reports, and that's for 5 or more. So you can see it's not a Katie bar the door scenario, but it's doable for this time of the year. When we look at the experimental guidance for this, what the most likely outcome from here, the models favor wind about a 15%, not overly excited about it, and the hail about 30%. Again, not overly excited, very marginal event, and it doesn't even actually have a tornado historically, given this type of pattern. But the models, short term, they seem to disagree. So let's take a look at those. The boundary we talked about, keep that in mind. This is the leading edge of the really juicy stuff. That's the atmosphere where we have dew point values in the 60s. So I put this into motion. This is 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. As I head into the afternoon around noon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice how all that moisture kind of surges back into western and central Oklahoma. So we're going to be in the unstable side, the warm and sticky side of that boundary. Also, what that means is you can get a little area of low pressure develop out here, and you can get kind of a pseudo dry line set up out in this region, and this will help to fire off those storms as this moisture piles into this area for Saturday afternoon and evening, and kind of fuels those storms for a while to keep them on the severe side, at least probably up to about 8 o'clock. After that, they should start to weaken with each passing hour. Okay, so how does that look like if we were to take the moisture and turn it into storms? Well, let's take a look here. And this will kind of give you the idea of what I mean as far as tracks for storms. So let's go through time here. We got the storms tonight bubbling up, again, mostly in northern Oklahoma, north of I-40, north of 44. And then for tomorrow morning, there's a little batch of storms out here in western Oklahoma. It's not the main show, just another precursor. So again, some more heavy rain up in northern Oklahoma. And then as we head into the afternoon hours, look at these just erupt out here in the Texas Panhandle. It's 5 o'clock, just supercells lined up, boom, boom, boom. And now what you can focus on is this little stretch. You see this? This is what we call a helicity track. Now, in the helicity track on the output of the models, It indicates a very strong mesocyclone, which would typically indicate at least a hail core, so in other words, a swath of hail. And of course, you get a lot of damaging winds associated with those as well, and on sometimes a tornado. So it shows there's a potential tornado. Now, it's just going to pick this one storm. It could have been, the storm south of it, down here. It could easily be a storm north of it. It's not going to know the exact position or placement. What your take home is just the general idea here of what's going to happen. Now, if you notice here, 6 o'clock, here 7 o'clock, those storms just crossed over, but they weaken. So the far western counties from around west of Woodward all the way down to west of Elk City, those still have the potential, like we talked about, for getting maybe a brief tornado with those storms holding together as they cross over. But that's 7 o'clock. So head into 8 o'clock, look what happens. It's just a rainy mess at this point. So you get too many cluster develop of storms, there's too many cellular mergers, and what you end up with just a big blob of rain with some embedded hail here and there, and maybe some gusty winds here and there. But the tornado threat pretty much what gets wiped out. And you can see how that kind of continues to migrate to the east as we head to 11 o'clock. So it's a slow mover out here over western Oklahoma. So if you're in the Oklahoma City metro area and you're going, hey, when is the heavy stuff going to arrive? It won't be until midnight. So there's a midnight hour on the west side of town, 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's 4, and it's actually falling apart. Now, it does try to regenerate a little bit with low-level jet, but otherwise, by early daybreak, it's just not the man it used to be, which is fine by me. It'll be moving off into eastern Oklahoma by 10 o'clock Sunday morning through Tulsa, and then finally exiting the state, looks like by Sunday afternoon, and that's all she wrote. So the severe weather threat with this round is really mostly across the Texas panhandle, starting right here, late afternoon, right here. That's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, some supercell storms. They continue out there. There will be a couple of tornadoes out there. That's a guarantee. It's not a if, then, or but. It's just they're easy to form out there. The terrain is what helps them out. So you sprinkle the right amount of parameters, and it's chase country. But then once they cross over, it's not so easy to do it here in the body of Oklahoma, especially other than just crossing over the border. So then through 7 o'clock, they're still mostly clustered along the Oklahoma border. And then again, 8 and 9 o'clock, they start to move in the rest of the western half of the state. But still, the heavy stuff should not arrive or push into the metro until closer to midnight. Okay, so that was a look at that. And let's take a look at your rainfall totals that we can be expected out of this particular round of rain, both of them, tonight and also tomorrow. So, the models have already busted in some cases, right? We already saw 2 inches of rain. They're maxing out at 2 inches of rain, so they're whatever. They're not going to get it all right, but they're going to give you the general idea, which is still a lot more heavy rain to go tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow across western Oklahoma, and then this little hot spot up here in northeast Oklahoma, north of Tulsa, Bartlesville. There's a 6-inch model forecast reading right along the border. Keep in mind these little hot spots will migrate, move around. But your take home is it's going to be some flash flooding in some areas. It won't be a widespread flash flooding event. It'll be a localized, isolated flash flooding event. But regardless, if that sneaks up on you, you need to make sure you know what to do, which is obviously stay out of it. Don't cross over flooded roadways with bridges, because you never know if they've been washed out. It only takes about 2 feet of water to pick up your vehicle and float it. If you get floated downstream, you're in trouble. If you're a kid out there playing in it, like I used to do, all it takes is about 6 inches deep, moving pretty quick. It'll knock you off your feet and carry you down. So you have to be real careful when it comes to these flash flooding situations. All right, temperature-wise, not bad overnight for the next couple of nights. We do get colder, though. We get back into the 30s, so a light freeze or frost expected here over central and northern Oklahoma. So we'll be back to the mid-30s. Thursday and Friday morning of next week. So if you've decided to plant a little early or put some stuff out on the porch, you might want to bring that in or cover them up. Otherwise, daytime highs, we're going to kind of stay in the 60s for the most part over about the next 10 days through next Tuesday. So that looks pretty good there. All right, so I think I have covered a ton of stuff. So I hope that was all helpful, educational, all that kind of stuff. For my opinion, am I overly excited here for the body of Oklahoma for tornadoes tomorrow? No, I think we could have a couple briefly crossover out in the far western counties. They won't last very long, and the storm should be on the downward trend. But 1 or 2 is still too many, So we'll keep an eye on that. I usually do cover tornadoes, but I don't cover live. Typically, just random variety storms or showers, because those are a dime a dozen. If I did that, I'd be on here every day, all day, and I gotta sleep. So I tend to just focus on the tornado aspect. So we'll see what happens tomorrow evening, and if for whatever reason I can't go on, I'll let you know about it. But make sure you use my weather app. It's called AT's Weather to Go. It'll predict these tornadoes before the actual warning comes out. And you're like, well, how does that happen? Well, it takes a proprietary list of ingredients, includes model data, latest radar data, analog data, all kinds of stuff, throws it together, and it takes a look at an individual storm that says, you know what, I think the storm is going to produce a tornado. And so it sends you a warning, custom warning. It's called a twisting storm alert. And it gives it a BTI rating, which is a scale of 0 to 10. If that rating comes in 7, 8, 9, 10, hit the deck. All right, hit your shelters. If it comes in around a 1, 2, 3, it just means it's rotating and it's keeping an eye on it for you, giving you early heads up. If it gets to changes, maybe get an updated warning on that, and it goes to all of a sudden from a 2 to a 5 or a 6, it's ramping up, meaning it's about to produce a tornado. Now, while that's going on in the background in your phone, to let you know what's happening, the Weather Service is watching this stuff too. And so they're the human interaction versus the machine interaction. So you're taking the artificial intelligence out of it, putting in the human side of it, and they have to wait for certain conditions and criteria before they can press the old tornado warning button. And they will, but the algorithms will give you the first warning before that happens. And that can be up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, extra lead time, easy. And that, man, you know what? That's a lifetime. You're trying to prepare for a tornado, and also keep in mind, it only alerts you to your specific location, your GPS location. So it's not going to, like a general tornado warning, it's a big polygon, and it usually covers a wide swath, and there's really only one line, technically, that polygon really should be, but they can't do it that way. They got to do it a big polygon. So if you live right here in the middle, and you don't live over here, and the polygon's drawn like this, really the only middle needs the warning. Well, the Weather Service can't do that, but my app can. So my app will say, nope, this spot within this area is going to get the tornado activity. So it won't bother everybody else over here, but it'll just send it directly to you. Now, when the warning comes out from the Weather Service, it will include more. My app will pass that along. So it's very important you pay attention to the twisting storm alert to give you that lead time. And 10, 15 minutes, like I say, has a ton of time to get everybody together and round up. Stuff we used to not have back in the day. So this technology is really cool. It's free. It's called AT's Weather to Go. You can look at it at Apple or Google Play. And if there's been a time where you like the app but you want to save room for other apps and you delete it, that doesn't hurt my feelings. Just load it back up during the spring because you're going to need it. Also, if you do load it up, Google has made things very difficult for people like me. Go figure. So, and this is fine because on everybody's app, when you load something, it'll say, when you use it, it'll say only allow while in use, or it'll say something like permission for your location, never, or some other options, right? Now, there used to be a always allow button, and they took that away, which irritates me because the app needs the always allow button to work behind the scenes to let you know there's a tornado. If you don't, it doesn't know where you are. And now, keep in mind, it doesn't know you specifically as the person. It just knows the app location of your phone, of your device. So that's all it knows, the GPS coordinates. So to find that, though, it has to run in the background. So that whole nag permission thing from Google, it just doesn't work well for a weather app design to know where that position is. So you're going to have to jump through some hoops to get onto your phone settings probably. You might even want to check if you already have it installed, just to make sure it's set to always allow. That's all it is. It doesn't use any of your personal data. It's not intrusive or anything like that. It just has to know where that device is located so that it knows to warn that device. And that's simple terms I can give it to you. All right, so thank you for the stars, by the way. I saw a few of you out of the corner of my eye. Send them out. So Carrie, Deborah, ladies, I appreciate it. Angela was in the house with some stars tonight. So was Ashley. Roger, my man, was in there. Deborah, a couple of times. Rachel, thank you. Rachel's a long-time star thrower. Leslie, thank you. Same with you as well. Jonathan, good to see you. Ashley again. Sherry. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the stars tonight, for the Facebook love. And I think that's going to be it. Let me take a quick look while you're staring at my face at the radar, see if anything's changed. That one storm, and it's actually weakened, so nothing to write home about there. All right, well, that's it for me. I will probably do an update tomorrow around lunchtime. We'll see what the new data shows, and we'll see how things look to progress. I don't expect really any changes, but I'll put that out there for you if you'd like to watch it, and then we'll see how tomorrow evening goes, all right? Guys, sleep well tonight. If you're up in northern Oklahoma, be careful of some flash flooding up there, and same thing goes for tomorrow, and then we'll talk with you soon. Good night, everybody.